Another season in the books and another one with more losses than wins, as the Broncos drop to the Raiders and the bottom of the AFC West. Welcome to Denver Broncos circa 2015. Hey Broncos country, I'm Lori Lattimore-Volkman, and this begins the Offseason Roundup. Despite the disappointing 1-3 finish for the final 4 games of the season, head coach Sean Payton insisted he was not discouraged.
I think the mood would be disappointing, not discouraged, but nonetheless, you'd certainly like to finish on a brighter note than that. You spend so much time in working towards a common goal, and then when you fall short of that, it just doesn't sit right. It can't with anyone. So
he's probably right about that. Got to move forward and look to 2024. So as the Broncos sit around for another month while elite players are going to keep playing, there will be a lot of time for self-evaluation and self-reflection.
I think the main thing is just understanding the guys we have in the locker room and how can we build off it.
I think we're going to be able to build off it. I think, this is the first time in my last 4 years that I won't have a new head coach. So it's just nice not to have, all that change, new position coaches. So to just kind of be able to build something for the first time, and I know it's the first time in a long time, here it's able to build something and not kind of have question marks all over the place. So grow the culture and get going again.
Hardships and struggle and the grind, makes it that much better when you do come out on top. I know my first year as a rookie went 4-12, didn't have a season that anybody wanted to have, and then that following year, we went to the Super Bowl, and the feeling of that accomplishment and overcoming, all the BS that goes with losing, and getting to becoming a winning franchise, and expecting to win each week, and that feeling and that confidence that comes with that is truly one of the best feelings in the world, and I can't wait till we can accomplish that. That disappointment doesn't come without the expectation of being great, and I think that expectation of winning ball games and and believing that we can do this is why it hurts so much. And I think the belief that this team has moving forward to accomplish what we set out to accomplish from starting in April is an exciting opportunity, I think.
Payton says individual evaluations of his coaches and players will come in a few weeks. But in his end-of-year presser, he did have a few evaluations to talk about.
The offense is ever-changing relative to who's playing in it. Were we as good as we expected or wanted to be offensively this year? Absolutely not. And, just looking at the numbers, we'll go through red zone, we'll go through third down, we'll scheme review, all of that. I would say clearly, still heavy-duty work in progress. So I'd say we're not building on that foundation yet. We're still putting the frickin' pilings in based on what I saw.
The main offseason question, again, sadly, will be what to do at quarterback. And it doesn't look like that answer is going to include Russell Wilson. For a quick recap, the Broncos benched Russell Wilson with 2 games to go in the season. It seemed a little out of the blue until we learned that the Broncos had actually approached Russell Wilson during the bye week and asked him to renegotiate the injury guarantees in his contract. He declined, and here we are.
George handles the player negotiations and contracts. During that bye week, he reached out to the agent for Russ. George communicated to me that was he thought a constructive conversation. Didn't lead to any changes to the contract. Russ went on to play for another 7 games, and then Sean made the football decision to make a change at that point for the last 2 games to give the team a spark.
He told reporters that the Broncos threatened to bench him, which is illegal. The Broncos claim that they did not do that. It was a professional as possible conversation, despite being a tough one.
Yeah, we made a good faith attempt to adjust his contract. We handled ourselves professionally, and I'll just leave it at that.
Still, the head coach and GM haven't signed the divorce papers just yet. And in the end of season presser, both the head coach and GM indicated there is a path that Russell Wilson could still be on the team in 2024.
I've talked to Russ. He's open to returning our roster. The door remains open with Russ. I've had good conversations with Russ. Sean's had good conversations. The door is open, and so we'll just kind of get through the process. We'll visit as with the coaching staff, scouting staff. We'll visit with Russ and his people, and we'll go from there.
Where we select, there's so many things that go into a decision specific to the quarterback, which is significant, obviously. So it's too early at all. I spent half an hour with Russ yesterday, and I told him, I said, look, I don't think it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, but it hasn't been decided relative to what our plans are. And but as soon as we know something that certainly, he would be the first to know. We'll look at all the scenarios and try to do what's best for the Broncos. But communication will be important, and that final decision hasn't been made. Otherwise, it would have been like, hey, goodbye, and yeah.
It doesn't seem highly likely, but there is a chance and maybe a path for Russell Wilson to still be here in 2024. Maybe just as a mentor for whatever rookie QB the Broncos get in the draft. The head coach offered a few evaluations of himself, acknowledging some things could have been better.
Our tight red zone was awful, and so, all right, I got to look closely at, my sequencing and what I'm doing, calling it. Inside what I mean by that is goal to go. We finished near so our red zone numbers are past the 20, how many touchdowns, percentage, et cetera. Our opportunities, I think were decent. I think we were 50-something that measured 9th or 10th. But inside the 10, first and goal to go, that wasn't good enough. Third down, there were a handful of things, and many of you have asked great questions about, hey, your offense, and overall, it was we collectively, starting with me, it wasn't good enough. We didn't take advantage of enough field position opportunities in games. Want to get my eyes fixed. So I call the right play and I don't mess up and call a wrong play on a play that happened one time this year. That was embarrassing.
But in true Sean Payton fashion, there were things that 99 times out of 100 he'd absolutely do over again, whether we liked him or not.
I know some of you had questions about a couple timeouts, but half-yard line, end of the first half against Vegas, I'm calling that timeout again 99 out of 100. Just look at the statistics or field position, balls, and the same one in New England. Really, we have to be great with the details, and obviously, we weren't good enough with the details if there were certain mistakes that were repeating themselves, and so that starts with our teaching, our coaching.
And ultimately, Payton does not regret his early season prediction that this team should be playoff bound. In truth, they almost made it, even with a really, really rough 1-5 start.
I felt like we had a chance, this team had a chance to get into the postseason, and I feel that same way now. So I'm disappointed because of that, and disappointed that I look back on a handful of things I could have done differently and better, and as head coaches, we're graded on our team's success, as we should be. And that means sometimes we're overgraded, and then sometimes we're undergraded, but ultimately it's about winning. And that's always been pretty clear and clean and actually refreshing.
Even new owner Greg Penner was encouraged by what he saw from this team and the improvement made. And he was particularly complimentary of the coach he hired just under a year ago.
First of all, I thought we took a big step forward this year. I was encouraged by what I saw. Proud of the resilience that the players showed, as well as the leadership of Sean and George and the whole staff. With that said, we understand the championship standard that we have here, and both for the organization and our fans' expectations. This is a proud franchise, and we grade ourselves by our winning record, and this year we didn't meet our expectations. I was impressed with how, after the 1-5 start, his leadership to bring us back from that adversity. and get in a position to make a playoff push. Very impressive. And probably the biggest thing here in terms of how I think about the future and this organization moving forward is that he established a culture here, is establishing a culture here based on performance, excellence, hard work, accountability, and again, his focus on winning. And a lot of times that does come out in a very passionate and intense way. I know you all see that. We see a little bit different. We see some of that in the building as well, but we also see another side of him. The messages that he has to our players are terrific. He's got a great sense of humor. He uses historical anecdotes. So we get to see both sides of that. But at the end of the day, he's focused on winning, and I love that passion.
And there were some big steps forward. The Broncos finally beat the Chiefs. They had a 5-game win streak, and they came up with 8 wins, which is more than they've had in any of the last 7 seasons, and tied with as many wins as they did in 2016 when they went 8-8 following Super Bowl 50. It's been a long drought, Broncos country, but it seems the team's on the right path. So now the focus turns to the draft and actually building Sean Payton's foundation. While I have disagreed strongly with how Payton and the Broncos handled the benching of Russ Wilson, it is Sean Payton's team, and he should get the signal caller he wants to develop and work with long term. So, here's to the 12th pick, or trading up being the pick we need. Because we have learned the hard way that a successful season revolves around a very good quarterback.
Now, make no mistake about it, we finished where our record was, and we could point to a few games that would have gotten us to 9 or 10, but we could have pointed to a few games that got us to 6 real quickly as well. All right? And so that's generally the case each year. And so, yeah, no pass, fail, success, non-success. It is what it is. It just leaves a taste in your mouth that you look forward to the work and again, the tough thing about it is you don't get to erase it next Sunday. Here it is. That's the truth.
That is the truth. As is the truth that 2023 is in the books and we have to move on. For what it's worth, it was one of the more fun seasons, as we did have a lot of wins and a lot of exciting games. And we scored some points. Occasionally more than 16 even.
Looking toward the end zone. Trying to get away from Crosby. Back to the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. The back of the end zone, dancing around. Pointing, throwing, back of the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. Is the rookie Jaleel McLaughlin. And it's a Sunday walk in the park for the rookie as Denver strikes first. Goes on 2nd and 6. Little sidearm delivery. First down and more. Touchdown, Brandon Johnson. Zone. It is deflected in the air, and it's caught. Brandon Johnson.
Down the play, Wilkins to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Very confident. And from the 1, this will be Marvin Mims.
And they did. They felt confident coming into this. They felt like they were going to shock some people, and
here comes
unfortunately
Mims.
They shocked it the wrong way as Mims is taking it.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to get him. Here they go, trying to catch him it the other way. Mims, the rookie, is taking it in for a kick return of 99 yards.
Wilson over the middle, caught, touchdown! Cortland Sutton. 1st and 10, play fake, pressure's coming. Fields lost the football. Cooper scoops it up, off to the races, and he will score! From the 11. Wilson, Sutton in the corner of the end zone. Cortland Sutton looking around. If the touchdown stands the way we saw it, I mean, it was called incomplete. But we could tell before we went to the break, it was a touchdown.
10 to the end zone, he's got him. Goal. Blocked by Troutman. Here comes Karlaftis. There goes Wilson. Touchdown! Sutton, touchdown, Denver!
Sean Payton will not settle for mediocrity, so we know this team will be on the right trajectory. So here's to 2024. Go Broncos.